life of me, I just can't understand what took me so darn long to get milk goats. I went off to visit a farm where they had French alpines, probably on the worst day of the year. It was so cold and miserable, and there was Eleanor Rigby, and there went my heart. That was the beginning of my love affair with goats, and I have never regretted bringing her and her 2 kids here. The first thing I do in the morning when I'm getting ready to milk is to mix some feed, which we put together different bits of feed because we know what the formula needs to be in order for it to be the correct nutrition for each goat. So our goats that are being milked need to have a certain amount of protein, and the goats that are not being milked don't need quite as much protein. The first thing I do when they get up on the stand for me is I hook their collar in place just in case they decide they're finished before I decide they're finished. And they're pretty cooperative. They like to stand there. They understand their job, and they're perfectly willing to produce the milk for me automatically. So I try to think about, okay, I want them to be as clean as possible, and because of the way they're treated, they don't usually have too many problems, but occasionally after they've been down on the ground on top of the straw, they might have a little bit of straw or something that could drop into the milk bucket. That isn't going to really hurt anything, but I don't like the idea of it. So I take my hand and I brush their bellies, and then I take my hand and feel the udder, which is the sac where the milk is, to make sure that it's okay, that I don't feel anything strange. And then I feel both of the teats to make sure that there's no cuts or abrasions or anything. Normally people talk about washing the teats with some kind of alcohol-based cleanser. I haven't gotten into the habit of doing that because I find that my goats are incredibly clean, and also because I think it dries out the teats. So then I've got to put udder cream or something like that on the teat to keep it from getting too dry and cracking. So if there's some debris, or maybe they've laid down in some of their own poop, then I will clean that, and I do have an alcohol-based cleanser I can wash it off with, but I have not had that problem, maybe once or twice. But that's the reason that I'm going to inspect everything to make sure that it all looks neat and tidy and we don't have any problems. Everybody's technique in getting the milk out of the teat is different. It takes practice, and each goat is different, so there might even be a different technique for each goat. But what I like to do is describe milking as it's like playing a scale on a piano keyboard. You just go do, re, mi, and each finger is pressing down at a different time to push the milk into the bottom of the teat, and then you squeeze and out it comes. It's like when you are piping icing onto a cake or a cupcake. You've got the little bag and you're squeezing to get it to the bottom. It doesn't take that much pressure. Eleanor, she practically squirts just by herself. She's just waiting for me to just offer a little bit of help. So again, it's just a matter of practice. And then when you get to the end, you know that you're going to run out of milk because it gets less and less and the stream gets thinner and thinner. And at that point, then you can alter how you milk. Maybe you squeeze both teats at the same time, and then maybe you alternate one after the other to allow a little more time for the milk to come down out of the udder into the teat. It just depends on the technique, but eventually you'll run out of milk, and there is no way to completely strip all of the milk out of the goat. You just have to wait for the next time, whether that's evening or the next morning. When I'm finished with the milking, I put both of the lids back on top of the bucket, and then I have a brush. It's just a little horse brush, and I brush each goat from the legs up because I want to examine the legs, make sure there are no nicks or possibly could have lice. Eleanor occasionally has a little bit of lice just because of her kind of rough existence before she came here, so she's fights that a little bit. So I just want to make sure that everything's fine, no cuts, no abrasions, nothing that could cause infection. It also gives me an opportunity to give back to the goat because they've been so good to give me this marvelous healthy milk. And now I'm showing them my appreciation by scratching their back with the brush or rubbing their sides. And when they first come, they don't like that very much usually, but over time they seem to enjoy it. It also gives them a clear indicator that I'm finished with my job, and now if they want to take longer to eat or they want to just stand there for a little bit, that's okay too. So we've got a clear cue that the process for taking the milk is finished, and now we can enjoy just the brushing and the time that we have together.